The history of the Great Wall of China. Introduction. Stretching like a colossal dragon across the mountains, deserts, and plains of northern China, the Great Wall of China is one of the most extraordinary feats of human engineering in history, visible from space in certain conditions and admired as one of the new seven wonders of the world. The Great Wall is more than just a wall. It is a story of ambition, fear, power, defense, and cultural identity. But the wall we know today was not built all at once. It evolved over more than 2,000 years, shaped by different dynasties, battles, and visions of emperors who sought to protect their people and expand their power. To truly understand its history, we must journey back to the time when China itself was being born. 1. The origins of the wall. Before the Great Wall, 7th century BCE, 3rd century BCE, the idea of walls in China predates the Great Wall itself. Long before the first emperor of China, Qin Shi Huang, unified the country in 221 BCE, regional kingdoms in northern China faced repeated invasions from nomadic tribes, especially those living on the Mongolian steppes. Around 7th century BCE, during the Eastern Zhou dynasty, smaller feudal states began to construct earthen ramparts and defensive walls. These were not yet connected but acted as local fortifications. The Warring States period, 475–221 BCE, saw constant warfare between rival states such as Qin, Zhao, Yan, Wei, and Han. Each kingdom built walls along its borders to defend against nomadic raids, mainly from the Xiongnu, fierce horse-riding tribes who threatened Chinese farmlands. These early walls were made of packed earth, tamped down with layers of reeds, twigs, and gravel. Though primitive compared to later stone structures, they were remarkably strong and effective in their time. By the late 3rd century BCE, the idea of separate walls across different states was already established. What remained was the vision of one powerful leader who could link them all into a unified defensive system. 2. The Qin dynasty, the First Great Wall, 21–206 BCE, when Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China, unified the country in 221 BCE, he faced a serious challenge: how to protect his new empire from northern nomads. Instead of leaving the old fragmented walls to crumble, he ordered his generals to connect and expand them, creating the first version of the Great Wall of China. This was not one continuous wall, but a network of barriers stretching over 5,000 kilometers. The construction was brutal. Historical accounts suggest that hundreds of thousands of laborers, soldiers, and even convicts were forced to work under harsh conditions. Many died from exhaustion, disease, and hunger. Ancient records even describe the wall as the longest cemetery on earth. Although Qin Shi Huang's dynasty was short-lived, his wall set the foundation for future dynasties. The Great Wall as a concept had been born. 3. The Han dynasty. Expansion and Silk Road protection. 206 BCE, 220 CE. The Han dynasty, one of China's greatest golden ages, saw the wall take on new importance. The empire was wealthy, thriving, and connected to distant lands through the Silk Road trade routes. But prosperity also attracted danger. The Xiongnu Confederation continued to threaten China's borders. To defend against them, the Han rulers not only repaired Qin's walls but also extended them deep into the western deserts. By the 2nd century BCE, the Han had built walls stretching over 10,000 kilometers, reaching into what is now modern-day Gansu and Xinjiang. Unlike the Qin, who built mainly for defense, the Han used the wall as a way to control trade and taxation. Watchtowers, fortresses, and military outposts dotted the wall, making it a hub for soldiers, traders, and travelers. The Han dynasty's contributions were so vast that for centuries afterward, the Great Wall was often called the Han Wall. 4. The Age of Division. Decline and fragmentation. 220, 581 CE. After the fall of the Han dynasty, China entered centuries of political fragmentation known as the Three Kingdoms period and later the Northern and Southern dynasties. During this time, the Great Wall suffered neglect. Some sections crumbled, while others were rebuilt by smaller kingdoms trying to defend themselves. Nomadic powers like the Xianbei and Rouran grew stronger, often penetrating weakened defenses. Yet the wall never fully disappeared. It continued to be used in patches, though without the unified vision of earlier times. 5. The Sui and Tang dynasties, strength and open borders. 521, 907 CE. The Sui dynasty, 581 to 6018, briefly revived the Great Wall, repairing and rebuilding certain sections. However, their rule was short. The Tang dynasty, 618-907, one of China's most glorious periods, took a different approach. Rather than focusing heavily on the wall, the Tang relied on diplomacy, alliances, and military campaigns to manage nomadic threats. The Tang ruled a vast empire stretching far into Central Asia. Their strength and prestige meant that they didn't need to rely on the wall as heavily as the Han or Qin had. Still, remnants of the wall were maintained for regional defense, especially near Silk Road routes. 6. The Song dynasty. Pressure from the north. 600 to 579 CE. The Song dynasty faced a constant struggle with nomadic and semi-nomadic powers from the north, such as the Khitan Liao, Jurchen Jin, and later the Mongols. Unlike earlier dynasties, the Song were militarily weaker and often relied on paying tribute or forming alliances rather than purely building walls. Nevertheless, certain fortifications and barrier walls were maintained. But eventually, the Song fell to the Mongols, a turning point not only for China, but also for the Great Wall itself. 7. The Yuan dynasty, the Mongol era. 71, 68. When the Mongols under Kublai Khan established the Yuan dynasty, the Great Wall became less relevant. The Mongols controlled both sides of the wall, the nomadic steppes to the north, and the Chinese heartlands to the south. Instead of relying on a defensive wall, the Yuan used their superior cavalry and mobility to maintain order. As a result, the wall largely fell into disrepair during this period. But after the Yuan collapsed, China once again felt the need for strong defenses. 8. The Ming dynasty, the Great Rebuilding. 368-1144. The Ming dynasty was the era when the wall truly became the massive stone and brick structure that survives today. The Ming faced constant threats from the Mongols, who remained powerful even after the fall of the Yuan. Starting in the late 14th century, the Ming emperors launched huge building projects to rebuild, expand, and fortify the wall. Unlike earlier rammed earth walls, the Ming constructed stone foundations, brick fortresses, watchtowers, and beacon towers. The most famous sections of the wall, such as those near Beijing, Badaling, and Mutianyu, were built during this time. By the late Ming period, the wall stretched more than 21,000 kilometers across northern China, arguably the greatest military structure in the world. However, the wall could not prevent the fall of the Ming. In 1644, internal rebellion and Manchu invasion led to the rise of the Qing dynasty, marking another shift in the wall's role. 9. The Qing dynasty, the wall's decline. 1644-1911. The Qing dynasty, established by the Manchus, ruled over both sides of the Great Wall. Since the Manchus themselves came from beyond the wall, they saw less need to maintain it as a military defense. Instead, the Qing expanded China's borders far north into Mongolia, Siberia, and Central Asia. As a result, the wall gradually lost its strategic importance and fell into neglect once again. By the 19th century, foreign travelers often describe parts of the wall as ruins. 10. The modern era, symbol of China. 20th, 21st century. During the early 20th century, the wall was little more than a crumbling monument. Wars, revolutions, and natural erosion damaged it further. But things began to change after the establishment of the People's Republic of China in 1949. In the 1950s, sections near Beijing were restored, especially Badaling, which became a national symbol. In 1987, UNESCO designated the Great Wall a World Heritage Site. In 2007, it was named one of the new 7 wonders of the world, cementing its global significance. Today, the wall is both a tourist attraction and a symbol of Chinese civilization's strength, endurance, and creativity. Although many remote sections remain in ruins, preservation projects continue. 11. Cultural significance and legends. Beyond its military function, the wall has captured the imagination of poets, artists, and storytellers. One famous legend is the story of Meng Jiangnu, a woman whose husband died while building the wall. Her tears were so powerful that they caused a section of the wall to collapse, symbolizing human suffering behind the grandeur. The wall is often called the Dragon of China, symbolizing power and endurance. It embodies the Chinese philosophy of unity and perseverance, even in the face of overwhelming challenges. 12. Legacy of the Great Wall. The Great Wall is more than just stone and brick. It is a story of China itself. Military legacy. It represents centuries of struggle between sedentary, agricultural empires and nomadic horse-riding cultures. Cultural identity. The wall came to symbolize the boundary between China and the outside world. Engineering achievement. Built without modern machinery. It showcases human determination and ingenuity. Conclusion. The Great Wall of China is not just one wall, nor is it just a relic of the past. It is a living monument, telling the story of emperors and soldiers, peasants and poets, victories and tragedies. Spanning over 2,000 years of history, it reflects the very soul of China, resilient, vast, and enduring. From the earthen ramparts of the warring states to the towering stone fortresses of the Ming dynasty, the wall has stood as both a physical and symbolic boundary. Today, it continues to inspire awe in millions who walk along its ancient stones, gazing out at the mountains and deserts where history was written. In the end, the Great Wall is not just a barrier of defense, it is a bridge through time, linking us to the dreams, struggles, and achievements of one of the world's oldest civilizations.